We're going to talk about Polkadot, what it is, when to possibly invest, and am I going to jump into? So welcome to the channel. If you are new, please do subscribe, hit that bell button, like and comment, all kinds of good stuff. Now, quickly, before I go on, join button there. If you want to support the channel, feel free to do so. The only reason being is because I want to hire some editors and I also want to hire some researchers. To make this channel better production, I want to kind of obviously invest in it. Ads don't pay that much, it's a bit crap, and as much as I like to make money investing and trading, I don't really want to pull money out of that into this, and then it's a pain in the ass. So I want to try and build something that I can reinvest in, make much better content, and obviously research elements are going to be covered. So that's that, done, crack on. Optional agreement. So Polkadot, what is it? Why is it? Who is it? All kinds of good stuff. We're going to talk about it. If you've never heard of it, well, I suggest you start looking at certain things now. I've heard of it from 2017 days. Yeah, a long time ago. It was locked up in fundraisers. It's raised like 150 million or whatever ridiculous it is. But it was all kind of locked up in parity and stuff like that, which was all kind of, locking up tokens. But let's talk about it, what it is. But honest thoughts, it's a good one. Like, if you're interested in the space, you should have a bag of this. Not financial advice, but this could squash Ethereum quite quickly in hindsight when you look at what they're doing right now and what they're struggling with and what Polkadot have got. There's also the element of other entities that could really grow from this as well. The likes of Cardano, very, very similar ilk, and the likes of, Zilliqa, Algorand. Building ecosystems with scale. There's always going to be that one that is top. Ethereum is currently that. But Ethereum's got issues where the other three I've just mentioned don't have those issues. Obviously, Cardano is still being built, but the likes of Zilliqa is very, very fast. The likes of Algorand is very fast too. But Polkadot is probably the biggie. The boom. I've got you. It's like a juggernaut. It really is. So let's talk about it in more detail. But first, let's go back in time. Not this one. This article. Is it this article? I don't even know now. That one. Boom. So, Polkadot project. Plans a second, they had so many fundraisers, which is why the interesting element of this is of the build, and it's finally been released in reality. So we've got to look at this. Gavin Wood, British co-founder, Ethereum. When you look at the similarities between Charles Hoskinson with Cardano, co-founder, Ethereum, what he's developing, and then this. It's very interesting, isn't it, when you consider that, where they're going away from the Ethereum side and they're building their own and developing their own projects. But we've had previously raised 145 million via a token sale in October 2017. It's a long time ago. Obviously, what happened here, Ethereum tokens of value of 98 million was frozen due to a bug in the parity wallets. But they were carried on building. They've done one more final block, an extra 45 million a couple of weeks back. There's a ton of demand for this, absolute ton of demand. But there's also been a stock split, which essentially is the first vote, which was, bear with me, there we go. So they had these were the four options, no change, the same as the 2017 model from the Genesis. You got a split of 10x, 100x and 1000x. It actually transpired as this as the main element, which is what we have right now. 1 billion dots, which is pretty cool. So that brings the question of what is Polkadot? Now, it is here. Hello. Hi. Welcome to the world of Polkadot. Polkadot, there we go. I can't even get my words out, man. That's so bad. Development is on track to deliver the most robust platforms for security, scalability, and innovation. True interoperability, economic and transactional scalability, and easy blockchain, innovation. Forkless and future-proof, security for everyone, and user driven network of governance, which is vitally important, by the way. So there's not going to be any stupid forks or side chains built because people can't agree on what to wear that day. So all this is kind of like the nuts and crannies of it is an ecosystem. The big underlying thing that we need to discover is the what. You've obviously got governance, so the ability to vote on certain things. We've just had an example of that with the stake or the swap, whatever. Then you've got staking. Game theory incentivized tokens on the proof of stake model. Boom, easy peasy. Own the tokens, get paid tokens, vote. And then you got bonding. Bonding is the one that excited me the most because this allows anyone to build on their chain if they've got enough of it. So they've got to buy a chunk of dot, boom, here you go, build on me. And we're going to go into more detail on that in a sec, so just stick around. So it's open source as well, that is vitally important. Now, comparisons between ADA or Cardano versus this. Cardano, I think, is pretty decent, to be fair. I hold it. I think it's going to do very, very well in the future, along with this. This is open source, though, whereas Cardano is not. That's the similarities, essentially. It's got a similar sort of ilk, but the open sourceness is a big thing. So just be interested in what could be coming up. Probably, in my opinion, the next generation of shitcoins is probably coming, but ultimately the ecosystem is where it really lies, let's be honest. So moving on into what it is, it's all been developed by Web3. Web3 founded by essentially Gavin Wood, and it's a monster. It's a monster of what they've got. They hold a lot of the stuff as well. They've obviously got the Parity as well. Parity Technologies, Chain Safe. They've got, I can't even say that. And then obviously Polkadot. Just be careful with certain things around investing though. I'll explain why in a minute. But when you're looking at this in terms of technology and what they've got, this is hands down bigger than what we ever can imagine in terms of scale. That's the difference with this. This is where Ethereum falls down. That word there is scale. This could be freaking ginormous, absolutely monster of a beast of an ecosystem that could basically rule the roost out of everything in the crypto space, allowing anything to be built on this without any issues is a key ingredient for success throughout. It's all about execution. They got to get the execution right, but a scalable, interoperable and secure network protocol for the next web. Now let's talk about this. The Polkadot network, a protocol that allows arbitrary data, not just tokens, to be transferred across blockchain. So it's going to be absolutely fluid throughout everything, absolutely everything, which is where Ethereum have to be a little bit, wary of, because Ethereum are bringing out updates and all kinds of new stuff coming, but we have no idea when that will be. If that's in 2 years' time, well, let's just dig a grave, because 2 years is a long time when you consider how far other projects have came within that time period. This means that Polkadot is a true multi-chain application environment where, like things, cross-chain registers and cross-chain computation is possible. Basically, you can build your own mainnet blockchain on this chain. Whereas what you have in the past is where you had Ethereum, you were Ethereum, so let's just say EOS and VeChain or Tron, for example, they are now off as an individual entity running their own chain. But with Polkadot, essentially what you could be one of these little chains on Polkadot, but you are still your entity. That's blows my mind when you think about it that way. So in terms of network glossary, let's look at the basics, right? So you got the relay chain, the heart of Polkadot, responsible for the network's shared security, consensus, and cross-chain interoperability. Boom. Parachains, sovereign blockchains that have their own tokens and optimize their functionality for a specific use case. That is pretty much what I've just been talking about. Parathreads, similar to parachains, but pay-as-you-go model, more economic for blockchains that don't need continuous connectivity to the network. And then we've got the exciting part, the bridges. Allows the parachains and the parathreads to connect allowing the communication between external networks like the Ethereum network and the Bitcoin network. You can use Bitcoin on this network, you can use Ethereum on this network. It basically is a one-shop for everything. Think of it like a Walmart, think of it like a Costco. It's just going to have everything in one place, boom, off you go. Carry on. The consensus models, obviously this is the importance of voting, the validation of it all. Nominators, me and you, all kinds of good stuff. Validators, the big whales, where they'll run the system. Essentially, they'll take all your tokens. They'll go, right, cool, happy days. We'll give you a stake reward of, I think it's 8% at the minute. And then happy days. You got the collectors, the main shards, essentially the sharding element of it. And then you got the fishermen. But one thing is for certain. This, in my opinion, excites me. The way that you can literally have your own little bit, and this is what the bonding side of it is, where you can build on this. You buy a good chunk, you're like, right, cool, let's go, boom, and you got your own mainnet on this launch. Simple as that. It's really, really cool. So obviously we need to look at roadmaps, what is coming out, all kinds of stuff like that. Obviously ramping up to 100 parachains, which is huge, which is basically going to be 100 different projects on here. It's going to get pretty big. Enabling balance transfers. Boom. Phrase and demonization. Oh, whatever. Anyways, all this stuff here is stuff that's coming out. Obviously, you got, staking's coming. You got all kinds of stuff with the governance. You got, obviously, the current phase, enable balance transfers, allowing the balance to move over here. There's all kinds happening, but one thing is for certain that you need to understand with all this. This is different to anything that we've got in the space. Like literally, that is the bottom line and the bottom paragraph of all this video is this is the next gen. It's simple as that. When you consider the fact of the past with Ethereum, where you got issues with obviously governance, where there was a split between Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, they just didn't get on, and obviously all kinds of shit went wrong. You got obviously Bitcoin with the forks and all kinds of stuff like that, but when you look at this as well with Ethereum, that VeChain, for example, is a good example, or even Cardano. They built on their chain, they used it, they abused it, they dumped them, and then they built their own. With Polkadot, they don't actually have to dump them. They can just use it and carry on using it and be a mainnet solution using their chain, but with their own rules. It's like, what? It doesn't make... It's just like, that's a brilliant idea, it's a brilliant solution, that's how it should be. Because they can scale for it. They can just crack on. They can just keep going bigger, boom. Right? That's the perfect situation of it. So in terms of building, 100%, obviously I say open source. Anyone can contribute to the code, run a node, or build services on it, and you can even get a grant. Woohoo. So obviously native Polkadot compatibility. Any blockchain built with a native compatibility with Polkadot. So when the mainnet comes, you can connect Polkadot as a parachain. It's like, ooh, why the hassle? Why the hassle of building their own when they can literally just build their own and just put it on their own, put it on this, and they can have so many benefits from that, which is absolutely vitally important. And obviously, the benefits of the token holders of DOT is even more apparent where go up in price, obviously. Pumpermentals, fork-free upgrade, so there's no issues with that because of governance. Plug-in-and-play module system. Interchain connectivity, and obviously instant security, and obviously different languages. Cool. Obviously geeky stuff, that's always good. But let's talk about staking, because obviously we're currently sitting at 8% right now, which is pretty damn high. In reality, pretty good. A very, very good rate. Obviously staking is not quite fully live on multiple. There's like a lot of wallets that we need to kind of consider as well, that over time will develop and become obviously apparent, available for everyone. So keep an eye on it in terms of what you can do with like different wallets and stuff when they come out in the future. Obviously, you got like the Ledger, Trezor, and all that kind of stuff like that. But they will be built in time. But if you've got a decent chunk of DOT, you could earn quite a decent little chunk, and that's the great thing about it. And like in theory, it could be getting very, very interesting. But one thing I want to make sure as well you understand this fully. The governance side of this is absolutely vitally important. I know this is like an old article, but the first ever vote that they realistically had, this is where it's going to go in the future in terms of like decentralization, how it kind of all works. But the one thing is like really, really obvious is too many tokens don't have this model. Too many tokens don't have governance correctly. And the staking model allows it. Obviously, other coins do have it. and it works very, very well. So just be careful that you're trying to get involved in something that you feel that you are comfortable with. That yes, the reaction of the vote might not be what you want, but at least you get a bloody say in it, which is obviously vitally important. But let's look at the chart quickly, because we don't have much. It's like it's dumping a little bit today, which would be nice if it does carry on going. Because I'm looking to buy in. I'll be perfectly honest with you, I want to buy it. The markets are a bit topsy-turvy, but I'm looking to put orders in. And we haven't got much of data to go, because if you go into the Huobi chart and stuff like that, it's the old token. It's like $400, which is like obviously the token swap. But when you consider, in my opinion, where we could go, as simple as it is on the 4-hour time frame, the only thing we can realistically do is look at where it stopped and turned around, or like just started off. We've got obviously the $3 region here. We've got this region here at $4.50. We've got the obvious one as well on this pullback, which is what, $5.50, and then we've got this top level here. Now, my honest opinion, it's going to fucking just moon. It should fly and go to the moon, and it could go easily way beyond. This is a pullback right now. So with a bearish divergence on the 4-hour time frame, we're going to pull back. Simple as that. But we can go a lot higher, in my opinion. When you look at where we are right now on this, for example, on CoinGecko, we're very, very similar to Chainlink right now. But when you consider this, you know, a simple arithmetic will tell you that, you know, there's potentially a 5x gain there is flipping Ethereum 5x from here, potentially. Which, yeah, I'd be happy with a 5x, but you got to think long term. The lower you can get in, the lower average you can get in over time, the better the reward. So always remember that. Don't just form and go, oh, it's going to go to like 5x up to like $15 or whatever, or even higher than that, $16, $20, $25, $30, whatever. It's possible, hugely possible, but you've got to look at the fact that this is high right now, it's hyped up right now. It could quite easily pull back nicely into a, you know, any range realistically. Obviously this price level, we need to see if this is actually determined. But if you start seeing a $5 and a $4 version of DOT compared to what it is right now at $6, the risk reward is going to be much higher. So just be careful that average your entries in, dollar cost average is important. But that is it in a basic nutshell. Not the most elaborate version of a video for Polkadot, but I am very, very excited about it. I'm looking to buy, you know, I'll be looking to put odd. I'll be honest with you, I'll probably do 6, 5, and 4. 6, 5, and 4. If it hits a $4 range, I'll be over the moon, but I see it very, very unlikely right now. I could see this mooning, completely mooning, but we've got to look at the overall grand scheme of things. The market is still held by the likes of what Bitcoin does, the dominance, all kinds of other indexes. As you can see, the market's pretty red right now on the chart. So just keep an eye on it. Obviously, the stock market could be a bit ropey as well today due to certain speeches going out, but yeah, the space is looking good.